Moscow, London, Hong Kong. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the city is humming with everyday life. Deep inside a major bank's headquarters, alarms remain silent, guards drink coffee, and nothing appears out of the ordinary. But at that exact moment, an ATM across town suddenly begins spitting out cash, bill after bill, into the waiting hands of a man in a baseball cap. He isn't using a card. There's no glass broken, no hacking console in sight, no police sirens. By the end of the day, millions have disappeared from accounts around the world, and bank investigators are left staring at security footage of empty lobbies and perfectly ordinary machines. Behind it all is a single file, a doc or a PDF, sent weeks ago by what looked like a trusted colleague. One careless click set off the most invisible criminal operation in banking history. There were no guns, no telltale fingerprints, only the hum of computers, the patience of cybercriminals, and a method so sophisticated that it took years for the world to even realize what was happening. This is the story of Carbanak, also known as Fin7, the perfect silent bank heist that rewrote the rules of crime in the digital age. Before the world heard the name Carbanak, their members were just whispers in dark corners of underground forums. Emerging from Eastern Europe in the early 2010s, Carbanak and Fin7 were not lone hackers in hoodies. They were organized, multi-layered, and ruthless. Their target wasn't everyday people or small businesses. Their sights were set on global banking, the nuts and bolts of the finance industry, from Russia to the United States, Europe to Asia. Unlike traditional cybercriminals seeking quick payouts, Carbanak treated hacking like a business. They built teams like corporate departments, phishing specialists, malware engineers, money mules, financial strategists. The group quickly evolved from simple online thefts to a carefully orchestrated global enterprise. Over 5 years, they targeted more than 100 banks, stealing an estimated $1.2 billion. Most shockingly, their fingerprints were almost never found at the scene. Their tools? Clever emails, malicious attachments, and the oldest trick in the book, human error. Every high-security vault, every armored car, every alarm system is only as strong as the person holding the keys, or in this case, the keyboard. Carbanak knew this. They didn't bother breaking through digital firewalls like movie hackers. Instead, they focused on the weakest link, people. Specifically, the bank employees sitting at their desks, going through endless emails. Their attack always started small, a personalized email, sometimes posing as an internal memo, sometimes as an invoice from a trusted partner. Sometimes it was tailored to the recipient's exact division or recent projects, using information pulled from social media or leaked databases. Everything about it looked legitimate, except for one infected attachment, a docs, a PDF, or an Excel spreadsheet, perfectly disguised. When the employee clicked, a small program silently installed itself deep within the bank's network. No pop-ups, no "you've been hacked" banners, just silence, as the malware mapped out the bank's entire digital skeleton. Carbanak didn't just sneak in the front door. They sat quietly in the living room, watching, learning how the entire bank operated, sometimes for weeks or even months before making their move. Once inside, Carbanak's hackers took their time. They watched bank employees' screens in real time, patiently studying every process. How does money move between accounts? Who approves major transactions? When and how are ATM networks updated and controlled? With this knowledge, the group executed their heist in stages. Sometimes they'd create fake accounts at the bank's own branches and transfer massive sums into them, then cash out before staff even noticed. Other times, they hacked into the systems that controlled ATMs themselves, sending remote commands so that a specific machine would dispense its entire cache of cash at a precise moment. At another end of the city, a money mule would be waiting, blending with everyday customers, sweeping up tens of thousands in minutes. But Carbanak didn't stop there. Once they'd taken what they could from a bank, they'd cover their tracks, deleting logs, planting false leads, even wiping entire networks clean. Their moves were so subtle and well orchestrated that many banks didn't realize the true nature of the loss until it was too late and the trail had grown cold. Between 2013 and 2018, Carbanak and Fin7 struck banks in more than 40 countries. The scope stunned financial experts. Over $1 billion disappeared, and often the victims had no idea how it happened. Traditional security, cameras, alarms, guards, meant nothing in the world of invisible theft. But soon, news of the attacks leaked. Investigators began to compare notes. Patterns emerged, identical phishing emails, similar remote access tools, trails of vanished money leading to the same handful of offshore companies and cryptocurrency wallets. Kaspersky Lab, Europol, and FBI launched global operations, sharing intelligence and tracking the criminals across borders. After years of surveillance and cooperation, authorities managed to arrest some leaders of the gang, including the operation's mastermind in Spain in 2018. But even as news cameras captured dramatic raids and headlines proclaimed victory, law enforcement knew not everyone was caught. Pieces of the group, and their source code, were already spreading to new cybercriminal gangs. The Carbanak attacks sent shockwaves through the financial world. Banks raced to upgrade security, train employees, and introduce advanced anti-phishing protection. Billions of dollars were spent on digital defenses. But the core problem remained. Technology can be patched, but human trust is hard to fix. The story didn't end with a single set of arrests. Copycat groups popped up worldwide, using variants of the original malware and perfecting the very techniques that Carbanak pioneered. For ordinary people, almost nothing visibly changed, yet the risks multiplied. If the world's most secure banks could be silently robbed, who among us is truly safe? What made Carbanak unstoppable for so long wasn't their code or their gadgets. It was their understanding of people. Time and again, a single person, bored, rushed, trusting, clicked the wrong attachment. The world had grown more connected than ever before, and the greatest vulnerability was no longer the safe door or the security guard. It was your colleague, your friend, yourself. For organizations everywhere, this became a wake-up call. Technology is only half the battle. The real defense starts with skepticism, awareness, and constant vigilance from everyone inside the system. In the end, Carbanak wasn't just a heist, it was a warning. If the kings of the old world robbed banks with guns, the kings of the new world do it with lines of code and a single email. The aftermath left more than just lost billions. It shattered the foundations of digital trust. As the world rushes to adopt new tech, one lesson remains. The most dangerous door isn't locked with a password. It's opened with trust. The battle isn't over. For every cybergang taken down, another rises, adapting, evolving, and waiting for the next opportunity. Are we any safer now, after Carbanak? Or are we simply waiting for the next ghost in the machine to slip through an open inbox? So, as long as human error exists, as long as trust can be exploited, the story Carbanak started is far from finished. The quietest heist in history may be just the beginning.